Hey, this is Lori Marini from Lori Marini Coaching. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and we're at episode 183 with my very good friend, a fantastic empowerment coach, Miss Lori Marini. She is a survivor of cancer, and she has taken what she's learned through that survival process, leveled up, and now is helping you level up. And one thing she said about is like, find those secret passageways in life. Life's an adventure. Find those secret passageways. And that's something I really took away from this. You want to listen all the way through this podcast because the ending even gets more exciting. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Lori Marini, an awesome empowerment coach. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I have a good friend of mine here from a little bit north of me here, and I'm in South Florida. She's kind of in Midwest Florida. Lori Marini. She's a fantastic motivational coach who specializes in empowering women during and after their healing journey. Many women lose their purpose after a crisis, and their fear of moving forward leaves them paralyzed. I have some friends that definitely need to talk to Lori. Lori guides them to their higher purpose on many levels as a tumor expert, a motivational coach, and more importantly, a breast cancer survivor. So she's walked the walk, squad. Lori has an understanding of what you're going through and what she's been through. So she's also has a proven record of getting your life back to doing the things you love. The best part is you won't have to do it alone, since she offers one-to-one group coaching as well as programs. So Lori, thank you so much for coming on. Introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, this is a good one. I have to say orange because
orange. Why orange?
Because it's vibrant and it's fun and it makes me happy.
I'm happy you use that F word, because every interviewee that I say it says orange, they say fun. It is, and you seem like fun. I vetted you out through social and through Podmatch and how we shout out to Alex Sanfilippo for putting us together here on through Podmatch. But orange is like perfect for you, and it's in your color wheel, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like life, especially through everything that we've all gone through, we've all have our version of a crisis that kind of takes us down a couple of notches, and it's really given me the insight that you have to make the fun in your life. You have to be positive. Like, happiness doesn't come to you. You have to be generating, and you have to be demand for it.
Right.
So orange for me, like I actually have an orange chair. Like, I'm just like, I surround myself in color. Yesterday, I wish I was wearing it today, because yesterday I had an orange hoodie because I had done a Tough Mudder. So it's like that bright orange, and I wore it all day, right?
Rock on. That's awesome. Yeah, in orange is it fits you perfectly. So let's hear your story. I'm very, very curious about hearing the story of Lori Marini here with regards to kind of being a survivor and then taking that and leveling up and wanting to help others.
Honestly, so by education, I am a pathologist assistant. So I have spent over 20 years learning about tumors. And I was working for a world-renowned hospital where I was helping them set up their genomic center, their precision medicine center. So my world revolved around working with metastatic cancer patients, researchers, and physically handling tumor, right? Like, it's what I know. So I was in this position, and I was so busy, I never went for my baseline mammogram at 40. So when I went back to my primary care physician at 41, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "I'm so sorry, I never went." Like, I felt like she was going to scold me.
Right.
And instead she said to me, "Lori, they just changed the guidelines to 45. You just bought yourself another 4 years."
Wow.
And I'm like, I work with metastatic cancer patients every day. I don't know how I feel about this, but I was like, okay. And I let it go. And I had a dream, right? It was in the back of my mind, but I had a dream where I was riddled with cancer.
Wow.
And so I woke up in a panic. I called my bestie and I'm like, you have to make me go and get that mammogram. Like, regardless of what my doctor says, like, I'm going.
Right.
And in hindsight, I don't know why a mammogram is like what first came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I went for a baseline and they called me back. I didn't think anything of it because anyone who's had an imaging knows, sometimes if they see something, the image isn't that great, they'll call you back and have you do a repeat. So I didn't think anything of it. I went back the second day, had a repeat mammogram, and then they put me into ultrasound, again, not thinking anything of it because that happens.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was on the table about an hour and a half later, they were measuring my lymph nodes with the ultrasound that I was like, we have a problem. Because it's what I've worked with my whole life. Like, I look at these imaging, I knew exactly what they were doing. And literally, it was that moment where, they have that big blue light up above and that I never understood. And I was like staring at it, and I finally got it in that moment. And I literally made a list of what my will is going to be and what I want to do with my life when I am done with this whole process. And honestly, I was very blessed that in the position that I had, I was working for a breast oncologist, right? The universe puts you exactly where you need to be.
Right together for you, right?
Oh, so I had about 2.5 weeks within diagnosis to surgery. And, the whole process was really overwhelming, even though I knew the system. Like,
Right.
I know hospitals, I know where to park, I know where the doctor's offices was. I was getting treated where I worked.
Right.
And I was still overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah.
And it's when I had that moment of, if I feel this way, then how does anybody else get through this?
Sure.
And so it really pushed me forward to being, of service to people who are going through a similar experience. And that's how Lori Marini Coaching was born. I knew I had to make a difference for folks.
Lori, you said that you still had the time between like 45, but was there in the back of your mind a fear because you saw people that are what they're going to go through? And squad, if you're watching this on YouTube, this lady does not even look near 40, so I just had to throw that out there. But
thank you.
You're very welcome. But seriously, Lori, like, was there a fear of, like, for lack of a better term, oh shit, like I'm scared of what to find out if I have to go through what these people do that I'm shuttling people through, again, a lack of a better term, every day?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It, I was never afraid because I felt like I was at the best shape of my life. I was doing all the right things. I was eating all the right foods, taking the supplements, taking care of myself. So it never dawned on me that, and I had no family history. It never dawned on me that I would be in that position, right? And so when it happened to me, it was overwhelming. And I was like, how did this happen to me? And then the fact that I knew so much, right? Like, I'm the person in my life, I'm the person for those around me that when they have a problem, they come to me and I tell them, hey, this is what you can expect.
Right.
So I couldn't, and I usually gauge how much I share based on the person. Like, some people want to know all the nitty gritty and other people are like, don't tell me.
Right.
And I couldn't filter for myself. And I also needed to be the strong person for my support system, because if I started to freak out, and I'm the one that they always go to and I'm the rock,
right,
I didn't know how they were going to react. So it put me in a really tough position.
Right. Okay. So let's get into the coaching then. So you went through, you battled, you won, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the kind of fork in the road moment that took you to coaching, and tell us a little bit about the people that you coach?
Yeah, thanks. And to put it in perspective, I am now 45.
Okay.
So I always tell people that if I didn't listen to my intuition, if I didn't have that dream where my angels were looking over me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today because of how I presented.
Understood.
I had such an advanced cancer that if I had waited the 4 more years,
been dead. Sorry to say it like that, but it could have been. Right.
100%.
Right.
So I feel very blessed to have been here. And it's one of those things that when I work with clients, like, I remind them that they really have, they're in control. So we have this distinction that we're not well, you're either a survivor or you're a warrior. So and the distinction is, as a survivor, you just go with the punches, right? You kind of are like going, how do I say this? For me, as a survivor, you're just kind of going with the wind wherever it takes you.
You're more sheep than lion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a warrior, you prepare yourself for that battle, right? Like
Right.
you educate yourself, you surround yourself with the good people, the experts,
Sure.
those that are going to support you, and you move forward and you just handle whatever comes your way.
Right.
And that's the mindset that we work on.
Right.
You know, and we don't allow victims, right? Like, okay, it's happened to you. Now let's get you through it.
Next.
Yeah.
Like inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? We're going to do it in baby steps, but
Mhm.
we're going to do it, right? It's like,
And if it means like you have to live your life 1 second at a time,
yes.
that's how you
Thank
live
you
it.
for saying that. Absolutely. So what do you think makes a great coach?
Listening. I think listening, and I think, you know, as humans, we always want to be like, oh, I think you should do this. But as a coach, we're there to listen, and then we're there to listen for your greatness, right? We're there to listen for your dreams and your passions and the things that you may not recognize for yourself. And we guide you to finding those on your own. So we're not consultants, right? I'm not there to tell you what you should be doing. I'm there to listen for what you
Love
really
that.
want.
I love that you said you're not going to tell them what to do. You're going to listen and drop some knowledge nuggets. That's what we call them here, you know, to help them maybe find their path. Did I say that correctly for you?
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. I love it. So when you're bringing a client in, or maybe even a prospect in, what is some of that secret sauce over there, if you don't mind sharing, to help them find their blind spots?
First and foremost is creating that rapport and that safe space that they feel that they could talk to me. And through that conversation of them just sharing their life with me, we're able to identify areas where they're stuck, right? A lot of times the conversation is, I don't even know why I'm making any plans because I'm probably just going to get a reoccurrence in 6 months when I do my scan. And so we get them beyond that. Like, you know what? I could get hit by a bus tomorrow.
I say that all the time, right? Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
so why not make the plans? And so people really struggle with that, and we work on that. And then from there, getting beyond that barrier, you know, the world's their oyster.
Love that, Lori. I love it. So to piggyback on that question, when you're first meeting somebody, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Usually it's never about me, right? It's always about them. Mm-hmm. If they want to hear about my story and how I was able to, you know, reinvent my life, recreate myself after several life crises, you know, like I had gone through my experience. I was in the middle of my healing. My dad got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, so I had to go and be a caregiver for him. And then I moved to Nashville because my boyfriend was there. We got hit by the tornado and we lost our home, right? Like,
sorry.
It was a really rough year. And then COVID hit. Like, COVID is happening and then we're moving because we don't have a home, right?
Right.
It's one of those things that if they ask me, like, how did I do it? I would just tell them, you know, I just had a belief and I had a drive for just wanting an amazing life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I deserve it.
I love that.
I think that that's what I wish that they would ask me.
Good. And I love that. I love that you say that, that there is that to keep planning and to keep moving forward, no matter what your situation is. So what do you think is something that people might misunderstand about Lori the most?
Oh, well, that's a really good question.
Time to shine.
I've never really thought about that. I think, you know, it's hard. I'm a very positive person. I mean, orange is my color, right? And I try to always see the silver lining. I always try to I live by the why not, right? When somebody asks me why, my response is always, why not? And I think people take it as if I'm being maybe aloof is the word, like
Sure.
that I'm not understanding and I'm not being compassionate towards them.
Right. Right.
It's not that at all. It's that I see the greatness that they're able to have for themselves. So if I'm not a stand for them, then how
Right.
are
Who
they
will
going
be?
to be able to be
Right.
for themselves?
So you've saw the movie Back to the Future, right? You're in my
Yeah,
generation, basically, because I'm
yeah.
48. So, okay. So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22, 23-year-old Lori. What kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on her to maybe help her level up, shorten her learning curve, and blast through?
So ironically enough, at that time I was pre-med, right? I was in college. Well, I had just graduated with pre-med and I had started PA school.
Okay.
I had at least made that distinction of, what I wanted to do when I grow up.
Sure.
And I think the nuggets that I would tell them is don't worry so much about what others people expectations are of you. Like have a mind of your own and start thinking for yourself for what you want your life to look like.
Love it.
And I come from a really traditional Italian family. My parents are immigrants from Italy. I knew I was going to college before I knew what college was. And, very traditional, like you have to be married, you should have kids, like all that, right? And they still look at me to this day. I don't have children, and they still look at me like, what did you do, right? um, so,
Me too, man. I'm 48 and I don't have any kids. People are like,
right?
really, Fergie? Seriously? So, yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
one of those things that, like, people have expectations of what they think that your life should look like. And it
Right.
took me a really long time to break free of that.
Love it. And so, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. How do you want Lori's dash remembered?
She lived courageously.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And
So,
that, yeah. And that she was of service, right? Because it's truly my heart.
yeah, you do. And it's proof that across the board and everything that you've said and what you do, that's phenomenal. So, what is your definition of a life well lived?
Uh, honestly, it's to take the chances, right? To go, so we play Mario Kart every now and again when life gets too rough, right?
Right,
Like
right, right.
it's because it's fun. And as I play the game, I always look for the secret passageways,
I love
right?
it.
And I'm always excited when I find one and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it dawned on me when I moved to Tampa, and I've always lived in the city, right? I've always been a city girl. And my boyfriend turns to me and I'm like, oh, let's go this way. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, you just want to go find another secret passageway? And I looked at him
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, because that's how I find adventure in my life, in
I love
everyday
it.
life.
I
And
love
so
that.
that's what I think that's what it would be. Like find the adventure for
You
yourself.
trailblaze like for yourself. You might not trailblaze for everyone else, but you trailblaze for yourself, and you find life, the adventure in life. That's fantastic. So we're going to, as we wind things down here just a little bit, we have our leveling up lightning round. Okay, you got 5 seconds to answer the question with no explanation. All of them can be done. We got a deal on that.
Got it. Got it. I'm in.
All right, here we go. Ready to level up, Lori?
Yeah.
Let's do it. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Be yourself.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Meditation.
Other than your own website, and of course, timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug, what is a website you go to kind of level up and just kind of for some good knowledge?
Tony Robbins or Robin Sharma.
So I know how you might answer this, but you might answer it with something else. But if I'm in my doldrums and it's not feeling it, and you're like, Fergie, read this. What's the book?
Oh, this is a hard one. Eek. The Art of Racing in the Rain. I know it's not one of those books.
Great
but
movie, at least. I know that. That's
the book
fantastic.
is even more phenomenal. And it's because it makes me laugh that every time the dog says, if I only had thumbs, I could get outside and go chase the squirrels, right? It's like this one thing that has stuck with me my whole life.
Gotcha. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
A smiley face.
Yay. Okay. You can't say your age now. but if you could stay one age for the rest of your life physically and still have the wisdom that you've already gained and still continue to gain wisdom, what's that physical age?
Oh, I say that I'm always going to be 25 forever, but if it has to deal with being comfort in my own skin, I'd probably say 31.
I say 32. Man, you and I are kindred. Awesome. So what's your favorite charity and organization you like to give your time and or money to?
Oh, such a good question. Anything I love the Special Olympics, to be honest.
I'm a hugger here in South Florida. You and your boyfriend got to come down. Me and my girl, we go and hug. It's fantastic here. And they're starting to open it up. They said in June, the Special Olympics that'll be in West Palm is actually going to allow us to go out and hug. So it's just going to be awesome. So
oh my, love that.
Last question. You can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh my goodness. I love all music. So this is like all of the above. Yeah, I have to say, if I want to be in a good mood, I probably go with like 90s.
Yeah.
80s are super fun, but I really love 70s music too.
I do too. Like when I'm chilling and working, I have iHeartRadio 70s on. So yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much for getting to the Leveling Up Lightning Round. So how can we find you, Lori?
Oh my goodness. So everything about me is available on my website, LoriMarini.com. You'll see my email address, my phone number, because I actually answer the phone. You can call me. And then just info about me and like what I'm up to and the services. And then I also have a book coming out called Women Who Boss Up. And it's focused on women who have gone through crisis, and especially like through health crisis, and how they actually got through that with a positive mindset. And so that's also, information on that is also available.
I love it. And tell me, is Loving Gypsy Soul still your website too? I just want to make sure so we get it all right. Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Loving Gypsy Soul is who I am as a being, but people got kind of confused as to how to find it because they couldn't really spell it because there's so.
Gypsy's a tough word.
So I made it easier, and I just did LoriMarini.com that redirects.
That's what we're going to definitely put on there. So leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on, Lori.
Be unstoppable. Like, don't let life circumstances stop you from living an amazing life, because this is all we got.
That is phenomenal. And squad, you have just gotten a free masterclass from my really good friend, Lori Marini, who, she serves others of going through what she's been through, and that having someone that actually walk the walk to go to is just fantastic. I'd love to make a warm introduction. If you're a female that's really looking to level up your life, that's going through some hard times, Lori's the person to talk to. She wants to remind you that you can be a survivor or a warrior. Take the warrior route. Be a lion, not a lamb. There's a lot of lambs out there, very few lions. Be that lion. So, also good coach listens and relates as empathetic, and she listens for greatness that's within you to guide you to find that grace. She's not going to tell you what the hell to do. She's just going to help you guide to get you there. She wants to create a safe place to share, and also during your time of turmoil to keep planning, to keep moving forward. She wants you to live by the why not. You can ask yourself why. Why the hell not? Get after life. Level up. Don't worry about other people's expectations of you. Be yourself, walk your journey, live your life. Okay. She wants to be remembered as someone that lived courageously. She wants you to take chances and find those secret passageways. Go and live life like the adventure it's meant to live. And she's going to remind you you are unstoppable. This life only comes around once, and live it. So Lori, you are phenomenal. You level up your health. You level up your wealth. You so giving. You're 100% epitome of the go-giver. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're carving out some valuable time, because I know you're a busy person. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you, because this was truly an honor. Thank you.
Yay. Talk soon. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.